See a picture of kaleidoscope eyes, and I'll see a picture of kaleidoscope tears.
I remember Alice as a really loving person. If you brought her a cup of tea or something while she was gaming, she would turn around and instead of saying thank you, she would just beam and go, "I love you." She was just really, really loving.
She just filled our house with light and laughter, and she was wonderful. That all changed when she began to hit puberty, and she began to become very withdrawn and much quieter, much more difficult to engage with. Even through that, she just had this sense of humour and an intellect, a real fierce intellect and inquiring mind. When Alice was 17, June 2019, Alice took a massive overdose and she was admitted to St George's Hospital. And from that point, we realised that we had to look after not just her mental health, but her trans identity and what she needed in terms of trans healthcare. I think she got to a point where she kind of felt like she didn't deserve the care that she needed because nobody else thought she needed it apart from her and her close family and her closest friends. She was on the wait list for 1,023 days by the time she died, and if she were alive today, she'd still be waiting. I think it takes them about 6 months to get through 1 month of wait list, so that would mean she'd be waiting 8 or 9 years in total for her first appointment. So it's not really a functioning service, is it? Or it's just a holding cell.
Well, part of what's so hard is I feel I only really recognised the depth of Alice's struggles after she died, because she was very private about it and she was very brave. But after she died, we had access to her medical records and we could see a self-referral she'd made to her GP about a month before she died, where she wrote about how overwhelming the wait list was and the impact it had on her mental health. And she wrote that she felt there was no end in sight and that it made her feel hopeless and helpless and that life wasn't worth living. With the Campaign for Alice, we really want to tell Alice's story because we want people to know that she lived and that she died, and we want people to know what she struggled with and the impact that the waiting list has on individual lives and on individual families. And I think that people should know Alice's name and politicians should know Alice's name, and they should bear the shame of her death, and they should know that policy decisions taken in Parliament have untold impact on people's lives.
There's a lot of encouragement to go forward with the campaign. I think one of the things we've seen is that we were the first family to speak out openly after the inquest for the death of a trans person, a young person. And since then, I know of at least 2 families who've been brave enough, because I tend to shy away from the word brave because it just feels like something that I have to do because my daughter has died and the way that I and my family have suffered since she took her own life is just indescribably awful, and I don't want any other family to experience the same.
And I think especially as a gay woman, it's important to me because it reminds me that the queer community is united, and often voices do seek to divide us and to turn trans women against gay cis women, and it reminds me that that's wrong, and most of us want to be comrades and want to be allies with each other, and we see our fight as one fight, that you can't have gay liberation without trans liberation.